Be strong.
Hello everyone and welcome to you, Ms. Barnali and Ms. Sabita in our first show which is being titled Struggle to Success. And before I start off with my thing, it is like this episode that we are going to come up every month in our channel. We aim to come out with the struggle of every individual who has attained success to their capabilities in life, so that our common people down the line really comes to know about what you exactly are, where you come from, and how you paved your way to success. And dear friends, to introduce Ms. Barnali Roy Chaudhary. She is a very seasoned campaigner in soft skills training and master training and corporate training. Along with that verbal ability, she had been in this corporate world for the last 14 to 15 years. And most importantly, she has served as a trainer, or rather, she has endeavored her training to organizations like Citibank, to GTL, Airtel, and many others like that. Presently, she is associated as a freelance trainer in HCL. Most importantly, is that uh, I would like to share with you Sabita. Sabita is a budding trainer. I would like to say she is very young, and she has worked at an organization in Edobridge, and now she is working for IT Smart, and she is mostly into the training of the students of the underprivileged group. That is a part of the Skill India program. So thank you, Sabita, for joining us. Thank you, Bonali, for joining us. And right now, I will just come up with the first query that I have in mind. Now, Bonali, the first thing that comes to me is how did you, where did it all start from, your career? Where did you all, that all started from? What was that scenario when you started? If you just get us back down the memory lane, so we understand where exactly you started.
At the outset, Shogoto, let me congratulate you for launching this YouTube channel, Phoenix. I know you are someone who always brings something new, innovative, and creative to the table. Phoenix being just a case in
Thank you.
point. So, a very good evening to you and Shobita. I was quite anticipating this question, the journey, how it all started. Well, I believe I'm just halfway off the mark. So, I still have about 20-25 years left in the journey. How it all started. So let me just rewind and take you back. Um, Back in those days, when I was a teen or a pre-teen, we didn't have a trainer who would be, drawing the quadrants, the SWOT quadrant in the classroom. We didn't have a trainer, so to speak, training, so to speak, on SWOT analysis. But I knew from the beginning, because I'm a kind of a person who was, who didn't have to be told that you have to do this, you have to do that. So somebody who was self-aware. I didn't know about opportunities and strengths, but I knew about my strengths and I knew about my weaknesses. I didn't have any illusions about it. I knew for a fact that I'm someone who always has a way with people. And then sales is certainly not my cup of tea. Marketing is not my cup of tea. I knew that I would be able to make my mark in something like public relations or maybe training. I wanted to get into academics and research after my graduation. Unfortunately, my graduation scores were not that flattering. But I knew that training is something I'm cut out for. So if you ask me why did I opt for training, I would say I didn't opt for training. Training opted for me. So I couldn't get into academics and research, so to speak, but I got into training. And after my post graduation, I did a bit of a course in English as second language, teaching of English as second language, TESL, from Osmania University. And then I applied for a job in a computer training institute as a communication trainer. So that was my first job. That's how it all began. And yes, it has been a checkered career so far. I mean, I have dabbled in a number of roles. I have straddled a number of roles in the L&D. So I've done recruitment, I've done training of trainers, I've done quality assessment of trainers, I've done corporate training, I have ventured into institutional training. So it's been a checkered career for me so far, and it's been 16 years now, 16, and it's still going.
Was that your ambition right from the beginning to become a trainer, or it is that you taken up later on? You had a different ambition, and then rather, as you said, you went for your SWOT analysis, and understanding that you shifted your aim, whatever
No.
you had.
I wouldn't use the word ambition here, because for me, training is not just a profession; it's a mission of life. So it's when you speak about mission, it's not ambition. Ambition and mission are two different things. I wouldn't like to tie down, something like an ambition to success or success to ambition. I mean, it's not like that. It was a mission of my life to make a difference to the lives of other people. I mean, I can find success only when my students find success, when they are able to reinvent and re-innovate themselves. So that's how I would define it. And that was a mission of my life. So it didn't happen by chance, it happened by choice. As I said, I was cut out for the job. I knew that right from the beginning, that I have a way with people, I can persuade people, I'm good at disseminating information. And of course, my scores, as I said, they were not quite flattering, so I couldn't get into the conventional academics and research. But nevertheless, I thought that it would be a good for me to, get into training, to make a difference to people life, to touch upon the lives of people, in my own way, in whatever difference I'm able to make to their life. So that's how I
So
got into
you were
training.
aligned to the thought process that you
I
had,
was
right?
right from the beginning, as I said, from pre-teen years, when I didn't know what SWOT was all about. When we didn't have any trainer to draw the quadrants, the way we do it, in classrooms, the way we do it, we draw the quadrants on the board,
Right.
and we teach them, this is S, this is W, this is O, this is T. But back in those days, we didn't have soft skills training. We didn't know what soft skills was all about.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
I also
we learned
say
it
the same.
we learned it the hard way. I mean, you and I, because we belong to same generations, we learned it the hard way.
Yeah, as you
Okay,
said
but
about soft skills training, I would like to just share one thing is that, what happened when I was in an organization, I was the only trainer who applied for soft skill training. And I really went through that training. And it was from a great teacher of mine, Dr. Asim Basu. So what you are saying is very correct. Now, I would like to come with the second thing. Now, you see the journey has not been very smooth, right? Sabita, I know you are trying to say something just after this. Definitely you can get in. Is that, there is a flow. It cannot be the smooth journey. So there had been of challenges. Now, this is what we really want to know from you, the challenges and the setbacks that you had and how you address them. These two questions at the same point of time.
Setbacks, I guess they are a part of the life. They are part of the equation. I mean, when you have decided to be a part of the journey, you have to embrace the setbacks. And because setbacks are there, you know that you are on track. If setbacks are not there, you are not sure if you are on track or you're off track. Now, coming to challenges, I mean, you have been part of the same ecosystem, Shogoto. You and I both have been part of the same ecosystem. So I used to work for an organization. I wouldn't name the organization, of course, but we used to work for an organization where I worked as a zonal trainer. Now, when I joined the organization, I remember that was back in the year 2007. I was not interviewed for the position of a zonal trainer. Let me tell you, I was interviewed for the position of a communication trainer in one of their franchisee institutes, The interview went really well. I went back home. Just a day after I appeared for the interview, I got a call and they asked me to come back. I went back there. Then there was a long conversation with the HR and with the national head. They wanted me to get on board as a zonal trainer for their West Bengal region. That was a big challenge. And I wasn't sure if I was ready enough. I mean, whether I was prepared enough to take upon the challenge on my shoulders. So that needed a little bit of coaxing on my part. That is, I had to coax myself into accepting this offer. I accepted that offer. I really had no idea what was coming my way. On the first day of the job, when I was briefed about my KRAs, I was told that there were approximately 40 plus centers. There were single trainers being shared by 4 or 5 centers, which means the cost of single trainer being borne by 4 or 5 centers. None of the centers had full-time trainers. And there was something called placement guarantee, which means that all the students pursuing their career courses, they have to be placed some way or the other. And 80% of them were not employable. They didn't have the requisite employability skills. That was the biggest challenge of my life. The biggest challenge was not to recruit and train trainers. The biggest challenge was to persuade and convince the center directors of these franchises centers to onboard a full-time trainer, because now they won't be able to share the cost with others. That was the biggest challenge. That was the first challenge.
I understand.
But
Okay.
it took me about 3 months to set the house in order. Everything was topsy-turvy. So it took me 3 months to set the house in order, to recruit individual trainers, soft skills trainers for each of the 40 centers, 40 plus centers, to train them up and to get the ball rolling. So
Now, this is something that you're speaking about, the very technical part of the challenges. If I ask you about the, what should I say, the emotional part of the challenges, rather, I would like to say, where you had been demoralized, there had been areas where you had been deprived, there had been, maybe you knew that is the right way, but that was not taken up. There had been, as you know, it all goes on key, where though you are not to be blamed for that, but the entire onus came back on you. So when you came across this sort of mental setbacks, that right better, I would like to say, or setbacks, how did you reorganize yourself? How did you rejuvenate or motivate yourself to rather, what did you do?
Shanto,
Exactly, what
yes.
did you do?
Uh, like when you are a part of the journey, you can't always expect to, you can't always expect the grass to be green for you. It can't always be the case. You have to brace yourself up for these kinds of setbacks and these kinds of challenges, emotional challenges which are emotionally trying, which emotionally drain you out. But what gets you going at the end of the day? I think the first question that you need to ask yourself is, I'm here to make a difference to the lives of thousands of students who are interacting with me on a daily basis. Am I able to do that? And if the answer is yes, other things don't really matter. Other obstacles don't really matter. I'm not the kind of person who gets bogged down by what other people would think, what X would think, what Y would think, what Z would think. At the end of the day, if a student comes to me and tells me that your training has made a difference to my life, you have helped me to reinvent myself, you have helped me to relearn, to unlearn and relearn, you have made a difference in a positive way, that is what matters to me. As I said, don't lose track of the mission. Don't take training to be just as any other profession. It's not a profession, it's a mission of life. So as long as you are focused on the mission of your life, you know what your goals are. And as long as you are getting a positive feedback from your target audience, understand who your target audience is. So as long as you're getting a positive feedback from the target audience, that should be enough to get you going.
Thank you. Nice one. Nice one. Nice to say. If I am satisfied with my job, so nothing can stop me. Right.
And there is
So
one more
yes.
thing, Shubha, there are days, when you have a physical pain, when you are just not feeling up to it. I mean, you have certain issues back home. You are sort of, challenged by other things, other emotional stuff at home. Personal issues are there. But let me tell you something. If you take your job as your mission and not as a means of earning your livelihood, if you take it as your life's mission, that provides a perfect antidote to all these, all those emotional challenges. A perfect antidote to that. I mean, if you get a sprain on your leg and if you focus on it too much, you feel the pain. But if you're watching a James Bond movie or a Sherlock Holmes movie, and if you're completely engrossed in it, you forget about the pain. You don't feel the pain, the throbbing pain on your ankle. So it's like that.
Right, very correct.